Dear students, we have been doing Elegy written in a country churchyard for last few days. Last time we saw what the poet said in those lines, that he was comparing the graves of the poor people and those of the rich. He says that the rich man's graves are built inside the church, whereas the poor man's of these villagers' graves are in the churchyard, that is outside the church, in the open, and they are also unprotected from the sun and rain. Some of their graves may have memorials erected over them, but they are of very poor quality. So, the poor graves of these rustic people have no grand memorial erected upon them. There are erected some memorials which have no sculpture significance at all and are erected near the grand memorials of the rich. So, anyone can compare that these are the graves of the poor people, whereas those are the graves of the rich people. So, the lines which are engraved on these memorials were here, as we will see, composed by some unlettered muse, by some unlettered person, uneducated person. So, what he says now in these lines, let's see. He says, their name, their years is spelled by the unlettered muse, the place of fame and elegy supply, and many a holy text around she strews, that teach the rustic moralist to die. So, what has been written on the inscriptions or on the tombstones which have been erected upon their tombs? So, the poet is here describing about them. So, what has been written upon them? Their name. That is, the inscriptions have the name of the departed soul. Their years, that is the date of the birth, date of the death, that has been written on those inscriptions, on those stones. But they have also the mistakes, they have also the errors of the spelling. It means that they have been written by some unlettered muse, that is, by some uneducated or illiterate person. Muse, here the poet has used the word muse. The muse in itself is the goddess of poetry. So we cannot expect from the goddess of poetry to write misspellings or something wrong. So in this way, when the poet says and use the word muse, it means the poet is satiring. The poet is satiring. So satiring in the sense that some person who was uneducated might have written those things. Therefore, the spelling mistakes or the errors have come out. And the place of fame and elegy supply. So this is where he was born. There is also written where he was born, when he was born, when he died, and their name. Nothing more than that was written on their gravestones. And this is only for them which supply them the elegy. This is the elegy for them. These are the words written for them in order to express some love for them. Nothing more. Then what else? And many a holy text around she stews. She means here the muse or the person who wrought those things upon those gravestones. So she also has spread there some holy texts, that is, some lines from the holy text, some lines from the Bible. No long epitaphs have been written upon there, but some holy text, some words from the Bible have been written, like I love them that love me, blessed are they that keep my ways, etc. So such kind of the scattering words or the lines from the Bible have been chosen and written upon their graves, gravestones or the monuments. And these lines, what are they doing? What is the function of these lines? These lines are such which teach the rustic moralist to die, which teach the rustic people, the village people, the lesson of moral. And what is that lesson of moral? That death is inevitable and that you have to meet with death one day. And now it is your turn, so you have to be prepared for death. So these small sayings which are scattered over their tombs, they give the spiritual consolation to the rustic people. They enable these people to meet death cheerfully. They teach them a lesson that they should not fear of death, but they should welcome it cheerfully. So, this is what that has been written on their tombstones. Here, rustic moralist, that is the rustic moralist to die. So, it means the one who practices morality, not one who merely preaches it. So, it is for these poor people, rustic people, who are in practical following the morals, practicing the morals. They are not only teaching the morals, but they are practicing. They are following those morals. So this is what that has been written on their tombstones. Okay, let's go with the next stanza. For who to dumb forgetfulness a prey, this pleasing anxious being over resigned, left the warm precincts of the cheerful day, nor cast one longing, lingering look behind. Every man desires, we know very well, every man desires that he should be remembered by his relatives and friends after his death. So, in these lines, for who to dumb forgetfulness a prey. So, the speaker here is asking, who is going to give up or resign? Next line, this pleasing anxious being ever resign their life, which is both pleasing and anxious. So the life which is pleasing, this pleasing, anxious being means life, ever resigned means nobody wants to leave this life which is full of pleasures, which is full of pains. Still, it is full of the pains. Even then, nobody would like to resign, nobody would like to leave this world, nobody wants to die. So, for who to dumb forgetfulness a prey. So, this line can be structured in this way and can be read so that the meaning will be clear. That for whoever resigned, for whoever resigned the pleasing anxious being as a prey to dumb forgetfulness. So the meaning will be that for whoever reconciled himself to the fact that his life with all its pleasures and pains would be completely forgotten. So nobody would like that his life should be forgotten or that it should be become the prey of the forgetfulness. Forget, here F is the capital word. again forgetfulness has been personified. So nobody would like to become the prey, sikar, victim of forgetfulness. Doesn't matter, the life is full of the pleasing and the pains. So nobody, he means to say that we human being never like to leave this world despite its worries, poverties, miseries, and because yet these all things are very sweet. So the pleasing anxious tensions, pains, but they are pleasing, they are very sweet, they are very pleasant. So, however, poor or the rich, poor or the humble, nobody will willingly leave this world. We know that the death is a dark world where everything is forgotten. So, no one is reluctant to leave this world, which is in contrast, we can say it is warm, pleasant, blissful. So, at the time of death, everyone looks back on the pleasant scene of life and most unwillingly leaves it. So, here let's go with the other lines. Left the warm precincts on the cheerful day, nor cast one lingering look behind. So, at the time of death, everyone looks back on the pleasant scene of life and lingers for it. Left the warm precinct of the cheerful. Nobody wants to leave the warm precincts of the cheerful days, his, uh, his pleasant days. His body is literally dragged towards death, but his soul eagerly looks backward at the scene of his physical life. So, left the warm precincts of the cheerful day, nor cast one lingering look behind. That is, everyone looks behind and he wants lingering. That is, वो हर व्यक्ति जो मरता है मरने से पहले मरना नहीं चाहता है और वो अपने पीछे जो भी अच्छे बुरे जो भी एक्सपीरियंसेस रहे उनके लिंगर ऑन रहता है. उसको पता है कि बहुत सारा कष्ट है दुनिया में, लेकिन फिर भी वो ये दुनिया नहीं छोड़ना चाहता है. उसका बॉडी जो है वो डेथ की तरफ जाता है, लेकिन उसका जो सोल है वो ईगरली जो है बैकवर्ड्स पीछे की तरफ देखता है. लिंगरिंग लुक बिहाइंड एट द सीन ऑफ हिज फिजिकल लाइफ. So, the meaning is that these poor people are also like the other people who don't want to die, who also wants to drink the pleasures and the pains of life forever. They also reminds their cheerful days. They also remember their warm, pleasant, and sweet days, and therefore they don't want to they don't nor cast one longing. That is, they don't cast one longing, but they lingering look behind. They always look behind in order to enjoy the pleasures of this earth. So, like villagers is going to be forgotten when she or he is dead. So again we have metaphors in line 85, that is forgetfulness we have, and personification is also there. Being forgotten when you are dead is like being hunted down as the prey of a predator called forgetfulness. And finally we have also alliteration, that is the L sound, just like in longing, lingering, lock. So this is the alliteration of the L sound. Okay, Now come with the next stanza, and that is 23. On some fond breast the parting soul relies, some pious drops the closing eye requires. Even from the tomb the voice of nature cries, even in our ashes live their wonted fires. So the poet in this poem, or in these lines specifically, compares the poor and the rich. He contrasts the poor and the rich. But so far death is concerned, so far the life is concerned, he says that there are many things which are similar. Everyone wants to live in this world, rich as well as the poor. Poor also have those same emotions which the rich have. So, remembering these people of the village or hamlet, now the poet says that nobody ever wants to be forgotten forever. On some fond breast the parting soul relies. So the departed soul, the spirit, relies on some fond breast, some of his best friends who love him. So the parting soul, the departed person, always want that someone should remember him, that someone should love him after, even after his death. So the dying person always has a desire to be remembered after the death. Some pious drops the closing eye requires. Closing eyes means the dead, whose eyes have been closed. So the dead person or the dying person also requires some pious drop, that someone should weep for him. Someone should love him. So only those who love him would weep. So the pious drops, that is the drops from the eyes, that is weeping. So everyone or the dying person also has a desire that someone should love him and someone should shed tears in memory of him after his death. So everyone wants, हम सब चाहते हैं कि मरने के बाद लोग हमें याद करें, लोग हमारी अच्छाइयों का बखान करें, लोग हमें प्रेम करें और हमारे लिए आंसू बहाएं. Everyone wants. So here the poet means to say that these poor people also had the same desire, same requirements, same wish, same feelings. They also had the feelings that the people should remember them after their death. Even from the tomb, the voice of nature cries. Voice of nature means here the voice of the departed person. From the tomb means from the grave. So, the voice of nature, that is the voice of the departed persons, from the tomb, even from the tomb, that also cries. So, जो मर चुका है, जो कब्र में है, उसकी भी ये इच्छा है कि उसके मित्र, उसके रिलेटिव उसके लिए जो है कि रोएं उसकी डेथ के ऊपर और उसके लिए प्रेम प्रकट करें. दैट इज ही ऑल्सो विशेज दैट his friends and relatives should express their love for him by weeping at his death. So, even from the tomb, the voice of nature cries, even in our ashes, live their wonted fires. So, even in our ashes, you see here how the poet describes कि यहाँ तक कि जो हमारे एसेज हैं, जो मरने के बाद जो राख है, मरने के बाद जो रिमेनिंग्स हैं, उनमें से भी वांटेड फायर्स जो है कि आ रही है. लिव देयर वांटेड फायर. सो वांटेड फायर इज द डिजायर, that desire to be loved by some others after their death, that also come out. So it is the natural desire to be remembered even after the death. So even when we are dust, जब हम एसेज में माने राख में बदल जाते हैं, ये जो यार्निंग है, ये जो वांटेड फायर है, लिंगरिंग है कि लोग हमें याद करें, वो जीवित रहती है हर मरने वाला। तो यहाँ पोइट यहाँ तक चला जाता है कि इवन जो उसके जो एसेज हैं, वो भी उनके अंदर भी ये आग है, उनके अंदर भी ये यार्निंग लिंगरिंग है कि लोग उनको उनकी मृत्यु के पश्चात याद करें। So this is what we have for today, dear students, and I hope you will understand these lines. You have got the meaning, and you can also discuss if you have some other problems. In our next video, we will have stanzas 24, 25, 26, and very soon we would be finishing this poem. So, very interesting poem that depicts or gives the picture of the villagers, poor people, and the poet's sympathy for them. But by now, further stanzas, up to now, the poet has described about the poor people of the hamlet where he is standing and describing about them. Now the poet is going to describe himself. Who is he? What kind of person he was? And what he in fact wants. So this is a common thing. We must understand, dear students, that we all don't want to die. That we all want that we should be remembered after the death. That we all want that someone should weep for us at our death. So, two or three things which are very common to all, very important, we must understand them. So, for now, thank you very much, and we shall meet very soon. Thank you.